So my name is Eoin O Doherty. I am from Wexford. I went to UCD for my undergrad before doing the MDP, which is 10 years ago now. And when I went out of college, I went into a marketing role in a legal software company called Keyhouse, and the role was kind of marketing and sales. But I had no exposure to sales before the MDP, so it had been that kind of the part of the job that I liked. And kind of after a year there, I moved to Oracle as kind of an AE role. I stayed there for 3 years before I moved to LinkedIn. Really enjoyed my time there as well. And then I kind of moved to a smaller scale-up company as an enterprise AE, which is called Active Campaign. So kind of scale up, like 1,000 employees. And now my most recent job is where I'm at now, is a company called LeanData. I started there about a year and a half ago. I was the first employee in Ireland, and I'm kind of tasked with growing the team and building out a European headquarters. I'd say the biggest thing was, like I alluded to there, was when I was in Keyhouse. My plan was I'll go into a marketing role here and learn it, but I quickly learned that it was kind of the part of the role I preferred was the human interaction piece. Marketing is great, but it's a little bit more subjective. It can be somewhat harder to track your success with like a marketing campaign or a marketing role, whereas sales is very objective. It's black or white, like your targets are there, your success is there. It's very easy to see. So that was probably the biggest thing in terms of that moved me towards sales. So that would definitely be one of those moments. And then in LinkedIn, probably Oracle's brilliant. You get really good training, best in the industry. But you're very much like a cog in the machine there. In LinkedIn, I was lucky enough to have a brilliant manager called Kieran McGowan, and he was probably the guy who got me thinking about it a little bit more strategically. Well, this is the route you can go down. Like, this is how you career plan, and that was kind of definitely instrumental in kind of leading me to end up where I am. Yeah, so again, like I said, I was pretty ignorant of sales when I was in the MDP and the whole tech sales world. But what is very different is there's actually very hard skills in it that you need to learn, like organizational and communication skills, and there's frameworks, that I would have an idea about, and methodologies, which is all very different. So it's a skill, or kind of like any other thing. So it isn't just as much as going in and trying to sell things. There's different frameworks and things you need to learn, and that was something that I didn't know before I joined. And it's like a thing that takes you years and years to hone. So there are very much hard skills in sales that I wouldn't have been as familiar with before. Yeah, probably kind of something we were talking about earlier, in terms of like not panicking after, like wherever you end up, you can still learn things from anyone. And every company you go to, every person you meet, there's like loads of little different things you can learn off them. So I would say for the first kind of 3 to 4 years, the most important thing is having as many conversations with people as you can, learning different things. It's as important to know how the company works and like what the infrastructure is, as much as it is to know, what you're selling or what your product is, what your job is. Like, that's the way you end up kind of being able to accelerate your career a little bit more, is knowing, this is how the company works, this is what's important, this is what that person does. And every person you talk to can teach you something a little bit different. In 10 years' time, well, I would hope to still be at LeanData and growing the company. If we could have a large office here that was in closing up on the 50, 60 people, that would be brilliant. But like what I've learned about sales over 10 years in, and it's very fast moving. So 10 years forward is quite hard to predict. I would like to be in a management role or some kind of strategic capacity, where you're planning out the company's growth on a higher level. Yeah, the MDP is great that it does give you some real world experience. Like we were saying again, like you're in 9 to 5 and you're working on projects, but I suppose there's a lot more flexibility than that as well. Like in reality, what people don't want to, and what the MDP is very good at is, they give you projects and you have your check-ins and you're checking on them. In the real world, you don't have that much level of support. Like people, a better sign of success is if you're given a task that you go and do it. Without having to constantly be asking manager, well, how do I do this? What happens? People like just to have things to be done and completed. So if you're doing well, you'll have autonomy to do whatever you like. But yeah, that's more good thing. You can go over and come back and go, yeah, this job is done, as opposed to always needing a bit of support. And be able to take the initiative that, I'm planning my day, this is my calendar, I'm setting up meetings with people to find out things we don't know. It's absolutely fine to not know things, but it's not fine to not ask people about that then, or to be able to find out a solution for that. Finest member, I would say, was probably that War Child Tag tournament we organised. I don't know if you guys still do that. It was like a tag rugby tournament. I think we raised about €4,000 or €5,000. And again, it's just a party for the day. So I think we had 16 different teams, it was like a barbecue and stuff, but that was one of the projects that I was leading, so obviously there was a bit more pressure. But as the projects go, it was a pretty good one, kind of a day of kind of drinking and playing rugby. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have a couple of good mentors. Now, it would be great if you had a mentor that was there through your career for like the 10 years, but in reality that's a lot harder to find. I would always recommend if you're in a company, try to find someone who you can kind of lean on. So like I mentioned, like Keelan McGarren earlier in LinkedIn, Steve DeMarco and LeanData, but they're there for the duration of your time in that company. They're not so much a life kind of coach that's going to assist you with everything. So yeah, I've been looking at a few very good mentors and managers. In terms of accomplishments, sales, like I said, is very objective. It's easy to map how you're doing. In Active Campaign, we kind of headed up the team. We were kind of I was the first enterprise AE there to kind of break the million mark in a year, which was a great achievement. And then in terms of where I'm really getting now, growing the team is always great. Like whenever we can get one more hire on the board. So, I think we're up to 6 people after a year. They're kind of small wins as well that you're proud of. Yeah, I've started running a little bit the last few years. I'm signed up for the Dublin Marathon in October. But apart from that, it's just spending time, friends and family.